and of course, during that match, we have an alien sighting, the return of Sue and Trent, and of course, the alien I'm speaking of is Kris Statlander popping out of a claw machine. Very Toy Story of them to do it this way. This show had quite a lot going on with it. We had the first match of Christian Cage in 7 years. We had Kenny and the Good Brothers versus Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid. We have the Bunny basically going straight for the top after quite a while off from wrestling. And we also have what seems to be a new faction in the QT Marshall Cody story popping out of that. So I thought this was a pretty solid show this week. What did you think?
Oh yeah, definitely a solid show, and it was one of those things to where, before you know it, it's the main event.
Yes, it definitely flew by. Like, I'm looking at it, I'm typing up notes, and I'm like, are they going to even have enough time for these final two matches? Because I'm looking at the time, and it's already like 9:18 or something like that. I'm like, how are they going to pack the next two matches into this show? Luckily, it was a tape show, so they could finesse things around commercial breaks if they needed to, and really it all worked out in the end. But the biggest thing, we have the return of Kris Statlander. I thought she was going to have at least another 3 more months on the shelf, and we have the return of Trent as well. I thought he had to go out for surgery. I didn't notice a scar on his shoulder, which would normally be for a pec tear. I don't know if you noticed anything.
I did not notice any scars. I also wasn't looking for any scars. But yeah, I was not expecting him until at least Double or Nothing.
Yeah, same with Kris Statlander as well. I mean, ACL tear repair is usually 9 months to a year, and I think she's back in about 8 or so, maybe 7. So she returned a lot quicker than I thought she was going to.
Can we start calling her Super Statlander?
I guess.
Because remember, and I'm pulling that reference from Super Cena when he wound up returning like 3 months early from something as the 30th man in a Rumble a good while ago. And they started calling him Super Cena, of like, he's not human. He, healed so quick.
Was that WrestleMania 20?
I thought it was a Rumble. It was
a Rumble. Yeah, Rumble.
Yeah, I don't remember the year, but like he got that huge pop, and they started calling him Super Cena.
I don't even know why I said WrestleMania, because I know it was a Royal Rumble, but I'm thinking it was at Madison Square Garden. That's all I remember about it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's introduce the show here. You're listening or watching the That's Wrestling podcast. If you're listening to this as a podcast, you can head over to Twitch or YouTube, because we do the show live over there. Twitch has been the most consistent. YouTube has been a little flaky as of late, but it is what it is. If you have any comments,
YouTube doesn't like it when you say that word that starts with a TW.
What?
Twitch.
Oh.
YouTube doesn't like that, from what I hear.
Probably not, but we've had like,
that's why it's flaky.
We've had thumbnails flagged as like containing nudity. It's like, no, it definitely does not. So that has kind of gone. I think they fixed whatever it was. So if you have any comments, question, feedback, send them in for the mailbag. You can send those to eric@thatswrestling.com. Follow us on Twitter @thatswrestling1 with the number 1 at the end. I did contact the guy who has That's Wrestling, but he has not been active in 8+ years and don't expect a reply. So unfortunately, we have a Discord. You can come hang out with us as well. Have your favorite podcast app. Give us a review. And tonight I have Darryl W. Perry with me because Trey is moving and Caleb is moving. So neither of them can make it. But luckily you watched the show live last night, so I could pull you on.
Yeah, I've actually been starting to watch it live instead of watching it sometime on Thursday afternoons. And I actually started watching the fight feed live because the picture-in-picture, I know people say, oh, well, you can watch it. I can't. Like, I just cannot watch picture-in-picture.
Yeah, and for on the fight feed, they continue the commentary and everything. So like half the time I don't even realize that we're in a commercial unless I picked up that they were saying that we're going to commercial.
Yeah.
And then, but then sometimes you have the problem of they get a little formulaic and all they do is beat down the baby face through the commercial. And then, if they make a comeback and they haven't announced they've come out of commercial, they're about to in the next 10 seconds, or that as soon as they announce that we're back, the babyface makes a comeback. So it's like, oh, it kind of like destroys it a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, and can we sign a petition or start a petition to have JR stop calling it restaurant quality picture-in-picture, because I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I think we should move JR to some of like the sit down interviews, backstage stuff. Bring in Veda and have her be the third.
Yeah.
All right, so we start off this show with Christian Cage with his first match in 7 years versus
first singles match,
right? Versus Frankie Kazarian. Christian looks in good shape. They start off with a vigorous lockup, pushing Christian back into the corner. Gets a little smile from Frankie. Christian hits a shoulder tackle, goes for a cover right away, and gets a kick out and gives a little smile back. So a little bit of a friendly rivalry, it looks like here, but we get a little bit of heel Frankie later on in the match. Christian does his jump over the top rope, land on the floor, give the guy a punch while he's hung up in the corner. Christian hits a swinging DDT, some flying uppercuts off the second turnbuckle, hits a bunch of strikes. They do some trading of pin attempts, and Frankie works a crossface chicken wing, but Christian blocks that. Christian goes for the kill switch. Frankie gets out of that. And then we have a spot where Frankie was going for a suplex and Christian was to flip out of it, but it's like Frankie didn't give enough momentum and like stalled while Christian was upside down. So he like is like paused for a second while he's upside down and kind of like flailing to try to get over. And but he did manage to land on his feet.
They call that reversal the buffering.
The buffering, yeah. He hits a reverse DDT out of that. Christian misses a splash. Frankie locks on the crossface chicken wing. Christian struggles to the ropes, and Christian is laid out in the middle. Frankie is talking trash. He kind of like bends down to kind of talk, and Christian tries a roll up out of that. And then Frankie lays down some more beatings. He hits a springboard leg drop. He gets a 2 count out of that. Frankie sets Christian up on the top rope. He wants to hit a superplex, it looks like, but Christian fights. But then Frankie stands up on the top rope, hits the flux capacitor. Christian kicks out at 2. Frankie blocks a kill switch. And then Christian avoids another leg drop, hits a frog splash off the top. Frankie kicks out at 2 of that. We have a couple reversals. Christian throws Frankie through the ropes and he posts himself. And then Christian hits the kill switch and gets the victory. I thought this was a pretty good showing. These guys went a little over 16 minutes, I believe. And I did have the note of, I think Christian might want to hit the cardio just a little bit harder because he looked a little bit blown up about halfway through this match.
Yeah. And when Christian went for the pin attempt after that shoulder tackle, that, again, it's one of those things that you almost never see. I forget which match it was a few weeks ago. It might have been something in New Japan. I heard you mention about that trip spot actually worked as a trip instead of just like, oh, I'm going to hurdle over the guy now because that's what I do. Like, oh, right. I forgot that was supposed to be a trip spot because I've not seen a trip in 30 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the shoulder tackle, like, that's supposed to be knock the opponent down, you go for a pin. Where it just turns into knock the opponent down, they pop right back up, you whip them into the ropes again and knock them down.
Right.
And then the kill switch, the setup for the kill switch just seems so weird, but the move itself is actually good. And I think that Christian has an underappreciated frog splash. Like, he doesn't get the height of RVD or there's somebody in the Eddie got height. There's somebody in the WWE right now that I saw a video of all of his frog splashes, and I commented, if he ever does that in the Tokyo Dome, he can call it the 7-star because it's actually better than RVD's. But like, he jumps like 5 feet up in the air before coming down. But Christian's is just like a very well performed frog splash. I also thought that this was going to wind up being a time limit draw. Like, when they made the announcement of, you couldn't hear what the timekeeper actually said, but you could tell that he, gave some type of time indication, probably 5-minute warning, because of all of the 2 counts and false finishes. I was thinking, all right, maybe they're actually going to a draw here.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, but I thought that would be very, very strange for Christian to go to a draw on his first match instead of winning his first match. That would be very strange.
It would be very strange, but he also has the slogan of outwork everyone, and he didn't appear to be outworking anyone during that match.
Yeah, that was kind of another that is a slight complaint I have about this match, is Christian has that saying, and we kind of got an old early 2000s match.
Yeah, like, he came very close to losing a couple of times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it would have made way more sense for Christian to come out with some squashes first.
Yeah.
Next up, we had a Sting and Darby Allin video. This is a classic Darby made video, very film noir. Darby's basically talking, Matt, you used to have the respect of everyone, everybody, all the kids used to look up to him. But now he's all about his money, and money doesn't buy friends or respect. Your money doesn't mean shit to me.
Yeah, good video.
Yeah.
Was Sting in the video? Because I don't otherwise recall seeing Sting on TV last night.
Yes, he was in the video.
Okay.
Just very quickly. Next up, we had a Jade Cargill video. It was basically the same content as last week with different words and different video. All mean exactly the same. Basically calling out Red Velvet and saying that she's the shit.
Yeah, and she kept referring to herself as that bitch. Yeah. I'm that bitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still don't care.
Okay.
She's gonna have to put in some serious work to win me over. Because right now, okay, fine, you can make some videos, and I guess you can talk. She's not very. I don't find her very compelling at all. I just find her annoying more than anything.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Cody versus QT Marshall in an exhibition match with Arn Anderson as the ref. They did not really explain how the exhibition was going to work. So, like, the rules, what are going to be the rules here? Like, normally I would think an exhibition is going to be along the lines of a sparring session like you would do in the gym, and if things get out of control, the coach steps in, aka the ref, in this case Arn Anderson, steps in and breaks the two apart, and that's when they call it a day because things got out of control. I mean, that's normally what would happen in a sparring match between, you know, friendly competitors.
I viewed this more along the lines of well, like in high school wrestling, sometimes before the actual meet between the two teams, they'll have a couple of exhibition matches of people that, you know, they're not starters, they're on the team, we want to get them a match, it doesn't count towards the record. So essentially, it's an unsanctioned match. It's the same rules, but it doesn't count towards win-loss. In preseason basketball, you'll see this to where, you know, some college team goes off and they play, you know, like a semi-pro team from Canada, where same basketball rules, but it just doesn't count towards the record. So that's how I was viewing this, is it's essentially an unsanctioned match, but instead of calling it a lights out match, which is much more of a hardcore no DQ style, they're just calling it an exhibition match.
All right, I guess I can see you on that viewpoint as well. I just took the other one that I put.
Yeah, I could see how you would come to that conclusion. I'm explaining, you know, like where I was coming from on seeing this. I also thought that they missed the opportunity with Arn Anderson as the special guest referee. They should have called him the special enforcer, since he is the enforcer, Arn Anderson.
True.
Just like, go with it.
So commentary pointed out that QT Marshall didn't even get an entrance. So that already puts QT underneath Cody, and the whole storyline here is QT wants to not be in Cody's shadow. So we actually had a bunch of the Nightmare Factory trainees around ringside for this match. So even right at the start, I'm like, this is a little interesting. I'm curious. Got my interest piqued. And then, of course, even going last week, we knew basically something was going to happen. QT was going to turn. It was just how that was going to go down. And QT and Cody shake hands. They push and shove a little bit back and forth. They lock up. They do some crisscross rope work. And then Cody hits some arm drags. And QT, first heel thing he does is pull Cody down by the hair. QT pushes Cody. Cody slaps QT in the face, and then QT hits a drop kick, and then he starts going after the injured shoulder, which, if this is going to be a friendly contest, you would probably not be trying to injure your best friend or exacerbate an already existing injury. So that plays for basically the rest of the match. Cody eventually gets to the point where he's about to put a figure four on. He lets that go. He sets up for a crossroads. He just lets that go. QT rolls out of the ring. At this point, I'm like, I think the match is over because I had that mindset of, oh, Arn should probably step in at this point because QT's gone a little bit off the rails, and Cody has basically shown that he could get either his submission or his finisher. So that's the end of it here. And then QT does get back in the ring. He looks a little bit exacerbated, and then he punches Arn Anderson in the face and lays him out. And Cody is like, what the heck? He's checking on Arn, and QT just walks out. He's walking up onto the stage, and in from the outside comes QT's students, and they beat down everyone. They beat down Cody, they beat down Dustin, they beat down Lee Johnson. Lee Johnson,
Club.
The Gun Club. Was it the Gun Club in there too? Yeah, they were all in there. Lee Johnson being the one that left QT Marshall out of his post-match promo, winning his first match, which a lot of people called out. So I'm curious if that was the plan the whole time, that was on purpose, and I'm guessing it was, or they're just really good at writing in a mistake into something like this. But Lee Johnson, he gets like power bombed on the stage, and then Nick Camarado, which is one of QT's students who did the attacking along with Anthony Agogo and Aaron Solo. Nick grabs the ring stairs and throws him up onto that stage extension between the ring and the actual stage. And QT Marshall hits a pile driver on the stairs onto Dustin. He is bleeding like crazy. They set up Cody for a one-man concerto on the stairs, but Red Velvet runs out and kind of puts herself between Cody and QT, and is yelling at QT saying, he's your friend. What are you doing this? And QT then just leaves with his group of disciples.
Yeah, and one thing that I thought was interesting, in addition to QT not getting an entrance, it looked like a lumberjack match because like the entire Nightmare family was there. I didn't realize that there were 5,714 members of the Nightmare family. I also got really confused on who some of the people were. Mm-hmm. There was the one guy that looked like a young Frankie Kazarian with the shaved head that I kept trying to figure out who is that, and I still don't know who that was. But like he was there. The Gun Club was there. And then of course Dustin taken after his daddy, and every chance he gets to bleed, he's gonna wind up gigging open. I figured that QT would turn. I figured that he would wind up going after Cody's shoulder. I just thought that he would wind up hurting Cody and, writing Cody off of TV for a bit. Because he needs that shoulder repaired. He needs some time to get some physical therapy, plus his wife is having a baby sometime soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I thought it was going to go to as well. But we were talking in the chat last night, and I think Brandy isn't due for another like 2 more months, so that it would be a little early for Cody to take the time off now. So I don't know. I guess
unless he were also getting the shoulder repaired, and then hopefully his shoulder will be recovered enough to where he can actually hold his baby girl.
Right.
Who was it that told him that he wasn't going to be able? Oh yeah, Penta says. So Penta said it in Spanish, and then Alex said it in English, that Cody wouldn't be able to hold his baby girl. But yeah, I did not see this new possible faction coming out of this. You did mention about Lee Johnson excluding QT. from his thank you speech after winning his first match. And then, of course, let's not forget the tag team battle royal, or whatever it is that they wound up actually calling that thing, because it wasn't under the casino rules, where QT wound up beefing with the Nightmare family during that.
Yeah.
So they've been sort of telegraphing this for a while.
Right. So, and here we are. I did not expect it to go the way it did, but I am now curious.
Yeah. What's this new 4-man faction going to be called?
Yes, we will see. You have any quippy ideas?
Yeah,
me neither.
Not off the top of my head, but isn't there a gas station chain that's QT something?
I don't know.
Quick Trip. Make a play off of that. QT, you called them his disciples. Go with QT and the disciples. I don't know. They'll come up with something better than what we can.
All right. Next up, we have a short video package. It's just Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky going back and forth. Basically, they're cutting the next few words of the promo back and forth, and basically they say they're sick of being held down and that they're going to start to take anything and everything that they want whenever they want, starting on Monday. So Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky seem to have found each other here.
Yeah, and they seem to have had Scorpio Sky possibly leave SCU without there ever being any kind of on TV showing of this. Maybe it was covered on BTE, maybe it was covered on Dark or Elevation, but for the people that don't watch, the other things, give us something of what's happening.
It was definitely not covered on BTE.
Okay.
So it could have been on Dark, one of the Darks, but as far as I know, it hasn't happened there either. So yeah, it just seems like he just quietly departed, and I'm a little bit bummed about that, because my whole hope was that once Frankie and Christopher Daniels lose their first match, which is going to be the title match against the Bucks most likely, that then it would be Scorpio Sky being heel Scorpio Sky to go into the retirement program for Christopher Daniels. But
yeah,
that could still happen, but obviously it's a little less likely at this point, I think.
Yeah, and I could wind up seeing something, because since they haven't actually said he's left SCU, whenever SCU does have that title match against the Bucks, he could come out and be in Daniels and Kazarian's corner and then cause them to lose the match.
Possibility. It is AEW, so I don't see that happening, because that almost never happens, so they might not go that way.
True. I'm just, looking at possibilities of how it could happen, to where, he's definitely a heel. The other two members of SCU, or the only two members, they're definitely, baby faces. Mm-hmm. But since he's never officially left, it wouldn't be strange that he would accompany them to the ring.
Correct. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Next up, we had Dasha was talking to Red Velvet. She was asking about saving Cody. She didn't really get much out until Jade comes in, kicks her, throws her into a road case, and yells to her that I'm that bitch.
Yeah.
Again, okay. We'll see.
Yeah.
Jon Moxley, a video promo. He is just cutting a promo backstage. He says that he Can't get the sound of the Good Brothers breaking Eddie's ankle out of his head. That pisses him off. He's pissed off about being attacked by goons all the time. He's pissed off because he owes the Bucks one. He's got barbed wire scars that are itchy. He has a headache, and that pisses him off. And then he finds out he has to face Cezar Bononi. That pisses him off. And he says Cezar looks good. He even looks like a Baywatch lifeguard. You could make a lot of money with him, but not if I kill him on Dynamite. Tonight, someone is going to get dropped on their head and choked unconscious. It's Jon Moxley.
Yeah.
His promos are awesome.
Yeah. Mox is the best, and I was not expecting that promo to immediately go into the match. Like, I was expecting, like, oh, here's the promo, they're going to do something else, and then the match is going to be after something. But it was like, nope, there's the promo and the match.
Yep. So it's Cezar Bononi and Jon Moxley. They jaw jack a little bit in the middle of the ring. Mox pie faces Cezar, and actually Cezar was accompanied by Ryan Nemeth and JD Drake. So they got kind of their own little faction right here as well. So they trade some strikes. Moxley hits a knee breaker, single leg, and then Ryan Nemeth gets involved, grabbing Moxley's leg when he's hitting the ropes. Cezar takes advantage, and then we go into commercial, and I wrote, WTF, this match is going through a commercial. Hangman just squashed this guy last week.
Yeah, and of course, I said, maybe they need to fill some time. Maybe there's something happening at the top of the hour that they need to happen at the top of the hour, and they need to fill some time. I also think that maybe they're going to try giving Bononi a push. I'm not really sure. Probably. But, you know, like, yeah, Hangman just squashed the guy. He's now going, you know, through a commercial break with the former champion. And some of that could also be marked up to Mox is still feeling the effects of the barbed wire exploding death match.
Yeah, and then we do have Ryan Nemeth and Drake on the outside, and they're causing problems. But they didn't cause enough problems before the commercial break for me to buy into that this match was going to go through a commercial break. Yeah. So maybe if they interfered a little bit more, then maybe I could have bought it. But anyways, Drake attacks Mox behind the ref's back at one point, and then Mox gets dropped by some strikes. They go to the outside. They actually get heat on Mox through the commercial, and Mox tries but can't knock Cezar down, but he does hit a rebound German suplex, sets up Bononi on the top rope, hits an avalanche suplex, locks on an armbar or an arm breaker, and Nemeth comes into the ring. Drake distracts the ref, but Nemeth ends up eating a paradigm shift. Bononi picks up Moxley for like a pump handle, but Moxley skirts around to the back, locks on a rear naked choke, and chokes out Cezar, and the ref has to stop the match. So we do have the right person winning. It just went a little longer than I thought it was going to, but interesting kind of little misfit faction here.
Yeah, and I just keep thinking that Ryan Nemeth and Mike Seidel need to team up as some kind of we're not as good as our brothers tag team.
that would be pretty funny. And I actually, the first time Ryan was on TV, I didn't catch the first name and instinctively wrote Nick. Which is Dolph Ziggler's real name. So we have this little team. I'm curious how they play out going forward, but I believe
maybe they'll reform the Spirit Squad.
Yeah, I mean, I believe Cezar was in NXT for a while at one point.
For several years, I believe.
Yeah. So we have another one that they let go, and I'm curious what AEW can do with them, over the course of the next year, if they can build him up into some sort of monster. I mean, he's got a good look, he's huge, so I guess we'll see how that plays out.
I'm just glad that AEW didn't do the New York thing and put him and Ty Conti together because they're both Brazilian.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, they're both Brazilian. Of course they're best friends.
He dropped Nemeth on his head, choked out Bononi. He did exactly what he said in his promo. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what Jay from the chat just said. Yeah. I mean, Moxley is the foreshadower in his promos, which I think is great.
Yeah.
Next up, we have a Team Taz segment. They're all sitting in chairs, all in a row, with Taz standing behind them. Taz still trying to convince the world that there's nothing wrong with Team Taz. Ricky says that he had a good time on Dark last night, and he can let go of things from the past. Ricky asks Brian Cage his thoughts. Brian stands up and basically says, "We could have finished the match sooner if you did such and such." There's still heat between Brian and Ricky, and all is not good within Team Taz. They are not convincing.
Yeah, this is kind of like the Bullet Club is fine.
Yes.
That thou doth protest too much. And Ricky Starks is so annoying, I want Brian Cage to punch him in the mouth.
Ricky Starks is the good kind of annoying, unlike Jade, which is the bad kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Next up, we have MJF is in their locker room with the Pinnacle.
One more thing.
Yep.
One more thing on the Taz segment. Did you notice that Hook was sitting there like old school Rock with the fanny pack?
No, I missed that.
Yeah. Yeah, right. He was just sitting there chilling with the fanny pack.
That's funny. All right, MJF in the locker room with the Pinnacle. He has a gift for the Pinnacle. He introduces the Pinnacle's new stylist, who is going to make everybody some custom suits. He says he's got an interior decorator and someone to finally get rid of the stench in the bathroom. He pushes open the bathroom door, and there is standing Jericho, Santana, Ortiz, and Sammy, like, pissed off. And he has the best comedic timing. He looks in, he backs away, lets the door close, and says, "We gotta get out of here." And then he goes to the other door to leave out of the locker room, but there is standing Jake Hager, and we have a massive brawl. Highlights of the brawl: MJF gets he's fighting with Hager. Sammy pairs off with Spears and slams Spears' head in a door. Dax and Cash are beat to hell by Santana Ortiz, and Dax is just covered in blood, and they beat up Tully a little bit as well. Jericho gives MJF a swirly and throws him through the glass of the refrigerator in the locker room. And after it's all said, he opens the door to the locker room, tears the Pinnacle sign off the wall, and sticks the Inner Circle sign back where it was. This was a really fun brawl, I thought.
Yes.
It was like a cinematic style brawl.
Just one correction. You said that MJF paired off with Hager. It was Wardlow that paired off with Hager.
Oh, sorry. You're right.
And then MJF and Jericho. And then, of course, the tag teams. And then I forget who Sammy was beating up. Spears. And then, of course, Tully was there and, getting in the midst of all of it. Really good brawl. I still don't like the Inner Circle, mainly because Jericho is an ass clown in real life, and I can never see him as a face. But yeah, like it's not an unsurprising outcome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was fun. I like they did shoot a little bit cinematic style. There were some camera cuts, and obviously cameras were where they were not shown on opposite camera angles. So uh, overall, I thought it was a good brawl, and yeah, the inner circle strikes back with some fire to the pinnacle, and of course this is just going to continue to grow.
Yeah, I wonder if we will get another Stadium Stampede.
I'm thinking this is working towards blood and guts to a War Games match.
Oh, right, the Blood and Guts thing that they've been talking about for over a year and never actually did.
Right, because Stadium Stampede took its place because there were no fans and they didn't think it was going to go on for over a year.
Yeah.
Alex Marvez is asking about Kenny to the Bucks. Matt says he's sick of talking about it. Don Callis comes in, sends away Marvez, and Nick actually leaves as well. And Don is basically saying that he loves Kenny Omega. He's family, and he thought that you were his family as well. Says that Kenny is heartbroken, and Don says that Matt is cold and dead inside. He slaps Matt. Matt grabs Don's shirt, but he does let it go. And Don says, "Is there anything inside of you? You're pathetic. You make me sick." So a little bit of gaslighting here from Don that the Bucks have changed, and Kenny Omega is the one who has stayed the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to see where this actually goes, and I want it to get there sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
like, this is not one of those storylines that I want to play out for a year.
Yeah, this has been an ongoing issue with the Bucks for 9 months now. Is okay, are the Bucks baby faces or the heels? We cannot figure this out, and it is really straining my patience when it comes to caring about Young Buck matches. It's like, because I don't know who I'm supposed to be cheering or booing here.
Yeah, and the only thing that, well, there's actually like two possible outcomes that I could see here. One of the outcomes is, since we've already kind of seen a split in the Elite, or I don't even know if they've been using the name the Elite for the Bucks, Kenny, sometimes Hangman, but it's very clear that Kenny Omega and the Bucks are not on the same page right now.
Mm-hmm.
So one possible outcome is they have a feud. The Bucks they find a third guy and have a match against the Good Brothers and Kenny. Like a blood feud between those two groups, or the whole thing is a ruse, and the Bucks reunite with Kenny at some point in swerving somebody to do something.
Right. So I'm it's a little early for this idea that I have. And going off of what you had just said, where Bucks find a third guy, and I was thinking, would it make sense for the Bucks to reconcile with Hangman going into Hangman's championship program with Kenny? But it's way too soon for that to happen. I don't think Hangman should be taking the title off of Kenny until either at Full Gear or next year's Revolution.
Yeah, and then just trying to think of some of the other people that have been really close to the Bucks and the Elite. I don't see Marty Scurll being brought into AEW.
There was already enough outrage when New Japan was thinking about bringing Marty Scurll back. That it is not going to fly in AEW.
Yeah, there's nobody else that I can think of that they could wind up getting, unless Kenta, maybe.
Yeah, but Kenta's a heel and has been a heavy heel the whole time. So I don't know. I was thinking like, is there anybody left from Bullet Club? But no, Marty Scurll's basically the only one left besides Hangman that you would even consider in the babyface realm and have a relationship with the Bucks. Because basically the entire current makeup of the Bullet Club in Japan is Jay White, which that was pretty much the Bucks were gone at that point, or it was the end of their run,
Right.
and so Evil obviously no, Kenta no, the Girls of Destiny, but I mean they're another tag team, so no on that end. Yujiro, no. So I don't. There's really no one left in the Bullet Club that would make sense to pull in.
Haku. What if, and just spitballing this, what if they were able to get Kota Ibushi? I realize that he's not Bullet Club, but there is some kind of relationship because he's best friends with Kenny and they're really good friends with Kenny. So like, that the Bucks and Ibushi hung out at some point.
That would definitely work if the Bucks brought Kota Ibushi. That would be fun. Again, I think it's too early to go that route though, because then I would want a title for title between Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega, and it's too early for either of them to drop a belt.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of fun ways it could go, and I'm hoping at some point we have Kota Ibushi versus Kenny Omega, and I hope at some point we have Hangman Page coming back into the Young Bucks fold if the Young Bucks are going to stay baby faces, and then that works into the title program with Kenny Omega. So there's a couple routes they definitely could go. But yes, like you said, they need to draw a line in the sand quickly. And I think next week's match could pretty much solidify which direction the Young Bucks are going.
Yeah, and we need a Young Bucks FTR match that doesn't have any of the shenanigans or interference that we got in their earlier program.
Yeah. So, yeah, they still need to have that rematch. So, next up, we had Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers versus the Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid. Laredo Kid gets launched by Penta over the top rope onto the Good Brothers and Kenny as they're making their entrance. Phoenix does a rope walk moonsault onto the pile and super kicks for everybody from Laredo Kid and Lucha Bros, and getting a triple super kick to Kenny. We get triple dives, multiple moonsaults onto Omega from Laredo Kid for a 2 count. And then things finally slow down a bit, and the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega get the heat on Laredo Kid for quite some time. They even do a triple splash spot where Kenny gave Luke Gallows a piggyback ride, and then from behind comes Anderson, and like they all crash onto Laredo Kid. Finally, the Lucha Bros end up getting tagged in, and they beat the crap out of Anderson. Gallows and Kenny fight with Penta and Kid on the outside. They do some triple teaming to Phoenix on the inside for a couple of 2 counts. Penta breaks up a Magic Killer attempt. We have a total breakdown. Everybody gets their stuff in. Kenny eats a Destroyer. Anderson hits a Spine Buster on Phoenix. Laredo Kid breaks that up with a dive off the top rope. Omega gets tagged in. He hits Laredo Kid with a power bomb out of midair. Hits a V trigger for 2. And then Kenny sent to the outside. Kid does a massive running dive. And then back in the ring, he hits a Michinoku driver. After Phoenix does a rope walk running kick, gets a 2 count. Kid lands on his feet from a Phoenix splash attempt, but then Kenny just fires back with a V-trigger, 1 winged angel, and gets the victory. This match was awesome. It was so fun.
It was, and it looked like for a split second that Laredo Kid was going to get the victory over Omega when he basically dropped him on his head in that Michinoku driver.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, like it looked like Kenny landed on his head.
After the match, though, is kind of when the big thing comes down. Is while Kenny and Good Brothers are celebrating in the ring, Jon Moxley walks out onto the stage, and they all turn around. They're looking at him. He slowly walks his way down the couple stairs onto the stage extension on the outside of the ring, and out come the Young Bucks as well. They stroll out and they flank Jon Moxley. The 3 of them, Jon Moxley and the Young Bucks, jump into the ring. Kenny and the Good Brothers run away, and that was it. We have that set up, and it's been announced next week. It's going to be Jon Moxley and the Young Bucks versus Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers.
Yeah, and maybe Mox is going to be the 3rd guy that joins them for this blood feud.
Yeah, he could, but it seems like a really weird pairing.
It does, but remember when there was supposed to have been the thing of Mox, Darby, and Hobbs.
Right.
Which is also a very weird pairing. Like, Mox gets tossed around into all of these feuds, which is why he's really confused in some of his promos of, why am I fighting this guy? I hate him. He hates me. I hate the guy that I'm teaming with.
Right, because then he
somebody's
also
gonna get dropped on their head and choked out, and I'm really pissed off.
Right, because he also had that match with teaming up with Phoenix and Pac, right?
Yeah.
Very strange. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
No wonder the guy's confused.
Yeah, but his promos are so good, like he pulls it right back onto the tracks.
I know that his promos are really good, but half of them, or at least one of them, was about him being confused about why he was even in the match, and everybody hated each other.
Next up, we have Rebel is interviewing Britt herself, and Britt is talking about that Rosa has been getting her wins up on AEW Dark, and she says, you may have won the biggest match in AEW history, but you know what? It was unsanctioned, so it doesn't count. And while you're over there on Dark, don't worry, Britt will still be here on Dynamite. The essentials of a promo.
Yeah. Rebel is actually a really good promo. Like, I had no clue that she was, a good promo.
Yeah, Rebel's fine. Like, I've never had a problem with Rebel. She's been great ever since she became Britt's lackey, I guess.
Yeah.
Matt, prior to the match that's about to take place, Matt Hardy says that Conti is going to pay for Dark Order's sins. He's still got it out for the Dark Order, of course. The Hardy family office comes out with the bunny. The Dark Order comes out to ringside for Conti. So this is the bunny and Nyla Rose versus Hikaru Shida and Conti. So we have a lot of people on the outside for this match. We have a good showing here from the bunny. She has not been wrestling a lot as of late, and she's just kind of gotten back into the ring in the past couple of weeks over on Dark. And is this her first match on Dynamite in like a long time?
I think so.
So we have.
Seems to me, and I've got a horrible short-term memory. But I seem to recall that her last match would have been one of the tag matches in that women's tag team
tournament match. Yeah.
Up thing.
Yeah. That's what I think too.
And then, like, has anything actually come of that other than, like, Diamante and Ivelisse wearing their medals once or twice, and I've not seen them on Dynamite in I don't know how long.
Nope, not much came of that one.
Yeah.
But we did get Ty Conti out of it. That's what came out of it. We got Ty Conti.
Yes.
Rose and Bunny attack before the bell. Rose and Shida pair off as the legal ladies to begin with. Bunny gets tagged in. Shida beats her up pretty good. Hits a rising knee off the edge of the apron. Nyla Rose attacks Shida from behind on the outside. We have a stare down of the opposing factions. Bunny and Nyla Rose get the heat on Shida through the commercial. Shida makes a comeback with strikes and suplexing Bunny into Nyla, who is sat in the corner. Ty Conti gets tagged in, throws the Bunny around, punches Nyla in the face. Corner knee strikes. I love those knee strikes from Ty Conti, where she comes in from across the ring, and then she does the one perpendicular to the ropes, or parallel to the ropes. Then we kick to Bunny on the floor. She hits a swinging neck break. She's staring daggers through Matt Hardy while she's giving a swinging neck breaker to Bunny on the floor on the outside. Then a brawl breaks out. And then in the ring, Ty Conti hits the Ty KO. Nyla breaks it up. Shida runs in, hits Nyla with a running knee, and dives onto the mat, the Hardy family office on the outside, and she is caught. And then Ty dives onto the pile, not the puzzle. Then gets back into the ring. Vicky distracts the ref. Bunny hits Ty Conti with a kendo stick, and then hits a down the rabbit hole for the win. Good showing from everybody in this one, I thought.
Yeah, even though it was kind of clunky just because there were so many people. Good showing, and Allie or Bunny, whatever you want to call her, is actually a better wrestler than I had previously given her credit for.
Yeah, she's really good. I'm surprised she hasn't been used as much. I know that she did have some health issues and whatnot, so I think that's why she hadn't been wrestling very much. But if everything's all taken care of and she is all better now, I am looking forward to seeing how this goes. But she is gunning for the top ladies, going after Ty Conti and Hikaru Shida. Shida being the champion and Ty Conti being the number one ranked at the moment. So it's going to be interesting because they announced that it's going to be Bunny versus Ty Conti next week.
So does that mean that Ty Conti might not actually get a title shot?
That could be a possibility if she starts getting knocked down the ladder here.
Yeah, and this is one of the negatives, if you will, of only having quarterly pay-per-views is you can't say, oh, this person's the number one contender, they're getting a match at this pay-per-view in 3 weeks. Where certain other promotions, they have those pay-per-views like every 4 or 5 weeks, where you've always got somebody in the title program.
Yeah, but they do those named Dynamite shows between the pay-per-views. So I'm assuming we're going to be having a named Dynamite within the next 4 weeks. I would assume probably the 28th or the 5th would end up being a named Dynamite.
Right. So they should go ahead and start booking some title matches.
Yeah, I think that's where we're going to be going, though, with everything that's happening now, I think the Bunny and Ty Conti kind of pairing off, having their own little feud, might pull Ty Conti out of it until Double or Nothing, and then that's when Ty might get her title shot. I don't know. There's a few ways they can play this off.
Yeah, and they could also wind up calling, and I don't think that they've yet announced this, but they could wind up announcing that the Bunny and Ty's match is a #1 contender match.
Could.
The winner of this is the #1 contender and faces Shida at fill in the blank.
Yeah. I'm looking at the rankings. So right now we have Ty Conti at #1 and Red Velvet at #2. And then 3, 4, and 5 have all had title shots and lost. So Rio, Britt Baker, and Nyla Rose. So it'd make maybe, I don't know how, I haven't really seen much Red Velvet, so I don't know how good she is.
Yeah, and she just officially signed recently.
Red Velvet did?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see. All right. They run down the card for next week. It's going to be Jon Moxley and the Young Bucks versus Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers. Bunny versus Ty Conti. Then we're going to have Darby Allin is going to face JD Drake for the TNT Championship. So this comes out of the open challenge that Darby Allin put out. And then Jurassic Express versus Bear Country. We get a quick Jurassic Express promo. Jungle Boy basically calling out Bear Country for throwing Marco around. And then they make a joke about the new Godzilla versus Kong movie, and Marco has Kong's face tattooed on his forearm. This makes Luchasaurus mad because we're the dinosaurs, and walks off.
Yeah, I loved this promo, and then just the mannerisms of Marco before he ever said anything, or Luchasaurus looked at him and like realized something was going on. Marco's just kind of there and very gently covers his arm up. And what are you doing? What's on your arm? Is that real?
Yeah, he says, I got it as a reminder to beat that ass.
Yeah.
And then he's like, don't rock away. Like, his delivery right at the end was great.
Yeah. And he's so funny because, like, he's probably, what, like 25 or something, but he looks 12.
Yeah.
It's just so hilarious.
He's like, oh crap, who was the guy, the guy who always hung out with Kid Rock, and he was a little person and also looked ridiculously young? Do you remember his name? I know he passed away.
No.
Anyways, the same thing, like, he probably, like, if they go to a bar, I bet the people do not believe that he is over age.
Yeah.
It's probably impossible for him. Everybody thinks he's got a fake ID. All right. We go into the final match of the evening, and this is the Arcade Anarchy match. Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor versus Miro and Kip Sabian. I have to say, Joe C. Jay put in the chat. It was Joe C. that hung out with Kid Rock. I have to say, I love Orange Cassidy's new music. They're using "Where Is My Mind" from the Pixies.
I don't know that I necessarily was paying that close attention.
Oh, well, they are. They are using "Where Is My Mind" from the Pixies. That always makes me think of the final shot of Fight Club, because that's the outro music for that movie.
Yeah, I could tell that it definitely wasn't the Best Friends music, but as far as like what song it was, didn't know.
It's very recognizable for people who've heard the song. Chuck and Orange Cassidy are ready to fight right away, and they go right at it. Orange Cassidy and Kip pair off on the outside. Miro and Chuck pair off. They're both fighting on the outside. Orange Cassidy and Kip fight into a whack-a-mole machine. Kip gets set through the backing, which was really just styrofoam, and Orange Cassidy uses the mallet on Kip a couple times. Miro comes in, trucks over Orange Cassidy, hits him with the mallet a few times. Miro sets up a piece of barricade leaning up against a setup barricade. Orange Cassidy and Taylor try to double team Miro. Miro fights out, gives Chucky T a suplex onto that piece of barricade. Miro throws Orange Cassidy in the ring, grabs a steel chair off of the prize. Oh yes, there was a prize rack set up. So let me set the scene here. I
loved the prize rack.
Yeah, so they had arcade games around, and then they had, like, at an arcade where you get tickets and stuff, they had a prize rack, and they had various values next to things, which I thought was great. It was really funny. They had a claw machine out there. They had the whack-a-mole. They had various arcade games around. So anyways,
some of the prizes on the prize wall, did you notice one of them was a toy version of the AEW title
for 100,000 tickets?
Yeah.
So Miro grabs the steel chair off the prize rack. Oh, so on the prize rack, there's a chair, there's kendo stick, there's that title you were talking about, there's a trash can lid, there's a stuffed animal, there's a whole bunch of stuff. It's just a smorgasbord of things you would not find on a prize board.
Except for the teddy bear.
Except for the teddy bear.
You would find the teddy bear.
And the replica title, probably.
Yes.
So he grabs the chair, goes into the ring, he wedges it into the corner. Orange Cassidy tries to prevent himself from getting sent into the chair, but ends up eating it anyways. Chucky T on the outside, Miro, he flies off of the top of a Mortal Kombat machine onto Miro. Orange Cassidy grabs a trash can lid off the prize wall, hits Miro with it. Chuck grabs the kendo stick off the prize wall, and they just beat on Miro back and forth with the lid and the kendo stick. And then they grab a hunk of barricade and they run Miro over it like you would normally see in like a ladder match where two team members get on each end and kind of run forward and clothesline the guy with it. They basically lay down the piece of barricade. They throw a bunch of stuff on top of him. They dump a table on him. They throw the whack-a-mole machine on him, onto Miro. Cassidy goes for a cover. Kip Sabian dives in to break up the pin, but he also crashes down on the pile of stuff. And I don't know if you noticed, but Miro like winced when that happened, because it's like he has all this crap on him. Plus, Kip Sabian just like smashed the barricade into him as well. Did you notice that?
I did, and it's something that you think you would see more in the breakup attempts, where when somebody, like dives across the ring and knocks the other person off from, making the cover, they're also landing on their own partner. You think that person would wince a little bit.
Yeah. Orange Cassidy gets kicked through the prize wall, or at least the base of the prize wall. Kip gets thrown into the ring. Chucky T grabs the teddy bear off of the prize wall, brings it in, it has tape on its back. He rips the tape off, and out pours Lego blocks. Lots and lots of Lego blocks. They fight on the top rope, and Chucky T ends up getting powerbombed onto the Legos, but only gets a 2 count there. Orange Cassidy comes in, hits Kip Sabian with a DDT onto the Lego blocks, then hits a beach break, and Kip kicks out at 2. Orange Cassidy hits the orange punch, and when the ref is counting, Penelope Ford pulls the ref, Aubrey Edwards, out of the ring. So Orange Cassidy goes to the outside and standing in front of Penelope. Penelope kicks Orange Cassidy in the balls, and he stumbles over towards the claw machine, and Penelope grabs her belt. It looks like she's going to start whipping Orange Cassidy with her belt, and out of the claw machine pops up Kris Statlander, and she pushes the piece of plexiglass off the front of the the machine, which smashes into Penelope. She beats on Penelope, brings her over to the ring. They're up on the apron, and Kris Statlander gives her a Falcon Arrow off the apron through a air hockey table that was set up on the floor. So we have Kris Statlander taking it to Penelope, and well, Kip Sabian was not involved, but rejoining where she had injured her knee during a match with her. And I believe it was a what?
But before we go on with this, one thing that annoys me when the spot of the ref getting pulled out of the ring as their arm is coming down for the 3, like the momentum of them being yanked causes their hand to never hit the mat.
Yeah.
Just once. I want to see a ref, while they're being yanked out, their hand is able to slap the mat for 3. And while there was, that interference on the ref, nope, their hand hit for the 3. That's a pinfall. Match is over.
What I want to see sometime is a ref get pulled out, but while they're standing on the outside, still count the 3 on the edge of the apron and call it. Like, you pulled me out, but I'm still counting.
Yeah.
I think that'd be funny. But I don't know. It's weird wrestling logic that you never see happen.
Yeah, just like how the babyface always gets distracted by music.
Yeah. So Kris Statlander sends Penelope Falcon Arrow through the air hockey table to the floor. Miro finally rejoins the party, beats up on Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor, and they are crawling away towards the parking lot. And out in the distance, we see 2 headlights pulling up, and it's a white minivan. It's Sue with Trent. Trent gets out of the minivan and he joins the best friends. They all attack Miro. Miro actually manages to fight them all off and starts walking to the van, and Trent saves Sue, fights back towards the arena floor. Miro throws a obviously fake Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet at Trent. Trent moves out of the way though, and then throws a chair in Miro's face. And this wasn't like a folding chair. This was like a regular, like, rigid bar stool type of chair. And it just, like, smacked Miro right in the face. Then Trent gives Miro a spear through a table that had been set up against the stage. Chuck then fights with Kip up on the stage and hits a running power slam off the stage through some tables, and they get the victory. And then they make their way back to the ring. They all hug in the ring, and then Kris Statlander gets in the ring, and they all hug again with Kris Statlander, and they all give a thumbs up to Sue, and Sue gives a thumbs up back. This match far out exceeded my expectations. It was great.
Yeah, and I wish that during the wedding they would have had, instead of just an empty box, put in one of the Mortal Kombat 2 machines that very obviously doesn't have anything in it. Like they totally should have had Miro destroying an arcade machine that was intended to be a present for Kip.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of wish they had put something in there that he actually ended up destroying. I thought that would have been funny.
And the table setup, I don't know if you noticed, but those tables just sort of exploded. Like it was a stack of several tables.
Yeah, it was like a stack
of black.
Yeah, it was like a stack of 2 tables on top of 2 tables, and then just covered with a piece of black cloth.
Yeah, and like one of the tables just sort of like exploded outward, and then the other ones broke. Like, yeah, that spot definitely was the right spot to end the match.
Yeah, it was pretty funny though.
Although I'm curious, what Miro was planning to do if he did successfully climb on top of the minivan.
I don't know. We could have another bodywork bill. That minivan's been beaten up.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it's even the same minivan.
It's probably not the same minivan. I mean, white minivans are pretty much a dime a dozen, so I'm sure they could get as many minivans if they wanted to.
Yeah.
So it looks like we have Kris Statlander is with the best friends now, because Orange Cassidy said the alien sits with us now on Twitter.
Nice. Although wasn't there, and I realized that it was probably just a joke, but after one of the Q member Congress people said something about Jewish space lasers, Kris Statlander and Colt Cabana tweeted something that they were going to create a tag team called Jewish Space Lasers, because Colt Cabana is Jewish, apparently.
Yes. I don't think that I didn't think that was news, but yes.
Yeah. I don't keep up with wrestlers' religious preferences.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So, I mean, now we have the alien joining, and now that she's back, I think they definitely need to, if they're going to elevate her more, we definitely need to get some more info on what's actually up with her. Like, is she just crazy and thinks she's an alien? Is she actually an alien? Or is she pretending to be an alien to screw with people?
Yes, all of the above.
We need that answer. The BTEs that she was in about a month or two ago when she was abducting people, she's not a very good alien. She does a very poor job at trying to abduct people and trying to probe them or do experiments on them, which was really funny. I don't know if you saw them or not, but...
No, I haven't. But if anybody has a collection of only the Kris Statlander scenes from BTE, send it my way. I'll take a watch.
All right. Anything else you want to touch on from this episode, or where we might be going with various stuff?
Yeah, it looks like maybe Best Friends is becoming a larger faction instead of just Chuck and Trent. Mm-hmm. So will Best Friends wind up being the name of the tag team, and then the group has another name? But yeah, definitely at least one new faction that we don't know the name of yet. QT and his group possibly expanding on the Best Friends to include Statlander, now that Orange Cassidy is using his own music instead of the Best Friend music that says Best Friends and also Orange Cassidy. Or it didn't say and also, but like it started with the Best Friend thing of them on the beach and then would pop up with a screen that said Orange Cassidy. So maybe it's not a faction and they're just all friends. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. A lot of stuff coming out of here. We've talked about they're probably going to have to start building towards that named Dynamite. So I don't know. I think we're kind of in a setup to something big over the next couple weeks, and we'll get some clarity on kind of the next stage of where all the title matches are going. We know that Pac and Phoenix already have a guaranteed title match once Pac has his ankle back in working order again. We have Kazarian and Christopher Daniels. They're going to need to get their title match at some point soon. I'm curious who is going to be the next contender for the women's championship, with Ty Conti sitting at top at number 1 and Red Velvet at number 2. But Ty Conti going after the Bunny kind of wanting to spoil Ty Conti's plans. So we have that.
So
we have the Hardy family office has beef with the Dark Order as a whole. So we have that faction problem going on. We have the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle faction issues going on. We got a lot.
Yeah, and you said that Pac and Phoenix have the title shot. My understanding is Death Triangle has the title shot. And then presumably it's Pac and Phoenix, since they were the two entrants into the tag team battle royal. But if they're going, using the Freebird rule, then any two members of Death Triangle could claim the title shot. There's the house show that's happening 1 week from tomorrow, where it's already announced that Death Triangle will face the Bucks in a title match. So is that going to be the title shot that they won in the Casino Battle Royal, or is that just another title shot that they're doing in a house show?
Yeah, I'm guessing it's just a title shot. I'm guessing it's going to be Penta and Phoenix versus the Bucks. I'm guessing just because that's going to be a match you're going to want to see in person, and that's a big draw for a house show. So,
yeah. And I forget what other matches were announced for that, but it looked like all of the titles are going to be on the line.
Interesting.
So maybe, they'll use that house show as sort of a reset and then announce a name show on the Dynamite after that.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
We will see.
Anything else
here? No. Good show.
Yeah, it was a good show. I think we'll be back. Let's see. Geez, New Japan has their Sakura Genesis show on Sunday. I am not sure when I will be back for that. Probably on Tuesday. Hopefully Trey is done moving by then. Or maybe if you want to watch the Sakura Genesis show, you can come back with me on Tuesday. But I
will not be able to. I'm actually having a medical procedure on Tuesday.
Oh. I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I thought
Yeah. I'm having an angiograph on Tuesday. They're not able to do the easy procedure on my heart and have to do the angiogram or angiograph to figure out some stuff. And then at a date to be determined, they will be opening me up.
I thought that was on the 8th, so that's why I forgot about it. So hopefully,
no. So the easy procedure was tentatively scheduled for the 8th, and then I found out like 2 days after that that they can't do the easy procedure.
All right. Well, hopefully all goes to plan on that, and
yes,
if you care, I will keep our audience updated on your condition if that is fine with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
That is totally fine with me.
All right. So thanks everybody for tuning into That's Wrestling. If you're listening to this as a podcast, we do this show live over on YouTube and on Twitch. Twitch is kind of the preferred platform at this point, but subscribe/follow to both of those, and you can just pick whatever one you want. You can snag this as a podcast if you're watching the video replay later on all your favorite podcast apps. You can send comments, questions, feedback, and let me know if you can't find the podcast on your podcast app to eric@thatswrestling.com, though I've been downloaded from like 50 or 60 or 70 different platforms at this point, so it's probably not much where we're not. Discord link is in the show notes. The link to the YouTube and the Twitch are in the show notes. And yeah. So for Darryl W. Perry, my name is Eric LaRoche, and you've been watching and listening to That's Wrestling. See you later, guys.